Hi guys, Steve Palmer here, Michael Campbell Golf Academy. I'm going to take you through a hip mobility workout. So this is something that you can do at home. It doesn't take very long and it's going to help you move your hips a little bit better during your golf swings and in life in general. It's going to cause you less injuries and you're going to play better golf. So let's get started. Okay guys, so this is our first warm-up exercise. It's somewhat of an advanced warm-up, but it's really good for the hips. If you can manage this, these are called groiners. Okay, so you're going to go into what is essentially a press-up position. You're going to throw a leg up like this, back to the press-up, throw the leg up like that. Now, so keeping my rear leg relatively straight, I'm throwing my forward leg up towards my hand. I'm kind of pushing down here. I'm going to feel a stretch on the inside of my groin there. That is a groiner. If you can manage that, then fantastic. That's a really good way to start off a warm-up routine for this hip mobility plan. So that is a groiner. An inverse groiner. It's basically the same thing, but this time I'm going to put my leg in between. So my knee is in the center of my chest. We'll face the camera there. It's at about a 90-degree angle, and it's kind of sitting right in the middle of my chest. I'm going to push down like that, and it's the same thing. Just like that. That's going to help you loosen up your hips, okay? If you can't do that, and you know, many people can't do that, you will build up so that you become more flexible and a little bit stronger. But just some walking or jogging on the spot, anything like that that's going to loosen up these hip joints, okay? So anything you can manage is a good warm-up. Okay guys, so your warm-up is going to last you between 1 and 2 minutes. During this warm-up you're going to get the blood flowing to your muscles, your heart rate and your body temperature is going to elevate and your joints are going to start to lubricate themselves, okay? This is priming yourself for training and for, in particular, flexibility. So the first exercise, and you've seen this countless times before, it's just a simple side split. So basically you're just going to push your legs outwards like this. Now, the more flexible you are, the further out you get your legs. It doesn't matter where you start with this. If you start like this, you start like this, start like this. It doesn't matter. You want to feel a good degree of tension. You want to sit as tall as you can. Keep your legs straight and keeping your chest up. You just want to rock forwards like that to enhance the stretch. Okay, again, like I mentioned in the previous video, we're going to hold this for around about a minute. So once you've done at least 1 minute with that stretch, maintaining the tension in the insides of the legs here, we're going to move on to the next exercise. Okay guys, moving on from that exercise, we're going to go into a butterfly stretch, which is basically you're going to get the soles of your feet together. You're going to try and pull the soles of your feet as close to your body as you can, maintaining an upright posture. You don't want to do this. I'll show you side on. You don't want to curve your back under and sit on like the back of your pelvis. That takes the tension away from the area we're trying to stretch. You could put your back into a slightly strained position. So we're going to sit as tall as we can, soles of the feet together, then you're going to draw the soles of the feet towards your body. And if you can get into this position, to hold your feet like this and use your elbows to push your knees down towards the floor. That's how you're going to get a good stretch doing this. So the closer you can get your heels to your body, the taller you can sit, the closer you can get your knees to the ground, the better. Again, we're going to hold it for about a minute. And we're going to hold a good degree of tension in that position. Any of these stretches, you want to make sure that your breathing is relaxed, is fairly deep. You want to try and relax into these stretches It's going to be somewhat uncomfortable, but you will start to enjoy the pain once you start to see some results. Okay folks, internal hip rotation. We're going to lie on your back. And we're going to put our feet flat to the ground, knees bent and knees apart somewhat. And then you're just going to allow your knee to rotate inwards towards the ground. Now what you want to try and do is make sure that you don't allow this hip to roll up like this. You want to try and keep the left glute there just flat on the ground, and you're just rotating the knee inwards. If you can, put your hands to the side, and you can add tension to this stretch by just resting your opposite foot on top of the knee. You'll feel a stretch down the outside of the glute there. This is an internal hip rotation stretch. It's going to increase your range of motion around your hips. Okay folks, this is an exercise stretch called pigeon, and basically it entails us getting into this position here. We're going to get the knee at about 90 degrees and we've got to put our hands either side like this. Now you'll probably already feel a stretch down the outside of your hip there, and you're just going to basically push your chest up and then lower down towards the ground a little bit. Okay? Now the more advanced you get into this stretch, the straighter you'll be able to keep this back leg. So if I get into this position again, like this, straighten my back leg, what it does, it lowers my hips towards the ground, and I get a stronger stretch down the outside of my hip there. Okay guys, we're going to do a hamstring stretch. Most people when they stretch their hamstrings just go down in a standing position and touch their toes. It's not the most back-friendly way of stretching the hamstrings. You get quite a lot of tension, strain on the back, the lower back in particular, if you're not particularly flexible. And when you're trying to hold it for long periods of time, you get a lot of tension in areas that you don't really want them. So the way we're going to do it, you're lying back. Now I've got some resistance band here. You can use a towel or anything that you can just put around the sole of your foot like this. You're going to keep the other leg, the non-stretching leg flat on the ground. Hips and shoulders are going to stay flat on the ground, and you're just going to keep the leg being stretched fairly straight. Make sure the foot is flat and it's not, the toes are pointed up. You're going to get a better stretch with that foot being kept fairly flat, and then you're just going to pull back like this. And you're just going to find that tension point and then hold it again for around about a minute. And then once you've done that, you're going to swap legs, stretch the other side, and that's a hamstring stretch. Okay folks, we're going to go into a hip flexor stretch. So we're going to get up onto one knee like this, and we're going to try and create a couple of 90-degree angles with both legs. Again, chest height. I want you to engage your abs a little bit, so you're going to pull the pelvis up towards you like this a little bit. And from that position, just going to rock forwards, and you should feel a stretch down the front of this leg here. Okay, that's your hip flexor stretch. If you're particularly advanced at doing this, you can get this knee up like this and increase the stretch. It'll make that stretch a little bit more intense there. Okay, so again, both sides, both legs for around about a minute, and then we'll move on to the final stretch. Okay guys and girls, final stretch in this exercise, in this workout. This is a stretch of muscle called the piriformis, which runs, it's quite a small muscle that just runs around the outside of the hip there. I want you to sit on a fairly low chair, I guess, so that your thighs are pretty much parallel with the ground. And you're going to raise one leg. You're going to sit as tall as you possibly can. place your ankle on your opposite knee, and then just going to push that down ever so slightly. Okay, you'll feel quite an intense stretch down the outside of your hip like this. It's quite, like I said, it's quite a small muscle, but it's really important muscle to have nice and loose so that you can move your hips through a good range of motion. Okay, now a way that you can make this stretch more or less intense. If it's too intense the way it is, what you can do is sit on a higher chair, so you're about this high. This takes the stress off of the muscle there. If you're in that position, you can't feel a stretch, then what you can do is you can put your foot up a little bit. Now you can put your foot up on anything. You want to make sure it's a fairly stable surface, but then you want to get your knee up like this, and that's a much more intense stretch. I struggle to actually get to good posture doing this. So that is a way more intense stretch if your foot is elevated, less intense if your foot is low. Okay? So that is it. That is your hip mobility workout for golf. Stay tuned. We're going to go through some torso mobility and some shoulder, arms and wrist mobility later in the series. So I'll catch you in the next video.